In 1980, Carl Sagan's series Cosmos aired. When people think of this show, they think of the planets, the stars, the universe.
We're about to begin a journey through the cosmos. Our ancestors looked at the intricacy and beauty of life and saw evidence for a great designer.
However, Carl Sagan consistently communicated three ideas that were strong beliefs of his. One, there is no God.
There seemed to be no way in which atoms could spontaneously fall together and create, say, a dandelion. The idea of a designer is an appealing and altogether human explanation of the biological world.
Two, evolution is a fact.
But as Darwin and Wallace showed, evolution is a fact, not a theory. It really happened. That life evolved over the ages is clear. But it's also a story of our own planet and the plants and animals that share it with us and what our fate may be.
And three, we need to save the planet, and it's going to cost a lot of money.
The reason Venus is like hell seems to be what's called the greenhouse effect. Ordinary visible sunlight penetrates the clouds and heats the surface, but the dense atmosphere blankets the surface and prevents it from cooling off to space. Made of carbon dioxide, water vapor, and other gases, lets in visible light from the sun, but will not let out the infrared light radiated by the surface. The greenhouse effect can make an Earth-like world into a planetary inferno. The world is divided politically, but ecologically it is tightly interwoven. We have uncovered other worlds with choking atmospheres and deadly surfaces. Shall we then recreate these hells on Earth? If we ruin the Earth, there is no place else to go. This is not a disposable world, and we are not yet able to re-engineer other planets. Human activities brighten our landscape and our atmosphere. Might this ultimately make an ice age here? At the same time, we are releasing vast quantities of carbon dioxide, increasing the greenhouse effect. The Earth need not resemble Venus very closely for it to become barren and lifeless. It may not take much to destabilize the Earth's climate, to convert this heaven, our only home in the cosmos, into a kind of hell. The study of the global climate, the sun's influence, the comparison of the Earth with other worlds, these are subjects in their earliest stages of development. They are funded poorly and grudgingly. And meanwhile, we continue to load the Earth's atmosphere with materials about whose long-term influence we are almost entirely ignorant. If we don't do the right thing now, there are very serious problems that our children and grandchildren will have to face. Here we are pouring enormous quantities of CO2 and these other gases into the atmosphere every year with hardly any concern about its long-term and global consequences. There are effects, and the greenhouse effect is one of them, which have long-time constants. If you don't worry about it now, it's too late later on. We are passing on extremely grave problems for our children when the time to solve the problems, if they can be solved at all, is now.
The amount of money that the United States has spent on the Cold War since 1945 is approximately $10 trillion. Trillion, that's the big one, with the T. If it's only a small probability of it happening, since the consequences are so serious, don't you have to make some serious investment to prevent it? What is it you would do if you took greenhouse warming seriously? I will argue spending money on mitigating greenhouse warming makes an enormous amount of sense for other reasons.
How much?
Billions and billions.
And how much would that be in today's dollars?
Trillions and trillions. Since this series was first broadcast, the dangers of the increasing greenhouse effect have become much more clear. We burn fossil fuels like coal and gas and petroleum, putting more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere and thereby heating the Earth. The hellish conditions on Venus are a reminder that this is serious business. Computer models that successfully explain the climates of other planets predict the deaths of forests, parched croplands, the flooding of coastal cities, environmental refugees, widespread disasters in the next century. unless we change our ways. What do we have to do? 4 things. 1, much more efficient use of fossil fuels. Why not cars that get 70 miles a gallon instead of 25? 2, research and development on safe alternative energy sources, especially solar power. 3, reforestation on a grand scale. And 4, helping to bring the billion poorest people on the planet to self-sufficiency, which is the key step in curbing world population growth. Every one of these steps makes sense apart from greenhouse warming. Now, no one has proposed that the trouble with Venus is that there once was Venusians who drove fuel-inefficient cars, but our nearest neighbor, nevertheless, is a stark warning on the possible fate of an Earth-like world.